We're not broken right now. We are awakening. And this is very important to know. Something's breaking, but also just to remember that something bigger is rising. And right now it might seem like humanity's down on their knees in a way we are, but that's okay. There's a moment to be on the knees, and then before the rise, right? Before the embodiment. And so I was thinking a lot about the Saint Francis of Assisi, who the book that I'm writing is a synthesis too of all the greatest beings that I've admired. So there's Saint Francis, and there is Krishna, and the Bhagavad Gita. As I try to take that apart, the Bhagavad Gita starts on the battlefield, right? Where Krishna and Arjuna are talking. And here's Arjuna talking to Krishna. He's saying, you want me to fight? You want me to fight? And he looks across the battlefield and he sees members of his own family. And he says, you want me to fight my own kin? Right? And this is where the whole Bhagavad Gita starts, is this battlefield. There's something very profound about that. And so, but I was thinking a lot about the bodhisattvas. So I noticed that whenever I talk, these thumbs come up and applauses. It's like my Zoom is just doing it. Like, I guess I noticed today, I was talking to someone and I was excited and all these hearts just started exploding. I think me and my Zoom are, we're in the 5D realm working together. There's some intelligence that's like, it seems to like what I'm saying, the Zoom at least, automatically. So I'm not throwing up any signs. So you might see thumbs up, hearts, I don't know, little sparkles pop up. It's just based on my hand gesture. So I want to read a little bit of the first stanzas of the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi, which is this, is such a prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. And when there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in the giving that we receive. It is in the pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in the dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. And I just thought about that as far as this bodhisattva heart right now. And I've also been studying a book, I spent many hours studying it today. It was a book about enlightenment by the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama was talking about the where he draws the strength to keep going. I think, he's getting quite old. He won't last much longer. So I was putting him on my altar as the ancestor that I'm really connecting to always, but particularly today. And, by the end of his life, he will have written about 100 books, at least. I mean, talk about someone who's just busy. It's just a channel all the time. But he was talking about what gives him the deepest aspiration is the mind of enlightenment. Was this idea that, we talked about this a lot, how it's so essential to cultivate the mind of enlightenment right now. We are practicing for the benefit of all beings, right? If we adopt that, I want to awaken my heart so that I can then go be of service. I love that. That gives me tremendous strength. If I think I'm just practicing for myself alone, I'll never do it. It's too hard, right? But if I think I'm going to sit, I'm going to awaken for the benefit of others. So there's that moment where I'll be able to be of use. And this is what I love so much. And it reminds me of the Bodhisattva prayer, the same prayer that Francis of Assisi had. It's this aspiration, So let's talk about bodhicitta again, which is the mind of enlightenment, right? The mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, the most precious quality. And the book that I was reading today was just saying how much power that this mind state has. Everything is about the mind right now, everybody. As the physical world that we knew it begins to go into very serious collapse here, what do you have left that other than your inner world? Right? Our mind is what is going to get us through. This is a battle of the consciousness, right? What direction are we going? Where are we placing our energy? Where's the mind? And this is a very powerful time to be working with your body-based awareness practices, right? To train in the heart. A lot of people think metta is just kind of for hippies and those are, they just they're the bhakti types. They don't do anything. They just sit around going, love, love. They live in the 5D. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They just want to stay above it. But no. Real metta is never above. It is the ability to go to anchor in a heavenly realm, but then walk into hell for a heavenly cause, right? That is the real power, to be able to sit like Dr. King did in jail and have that love there, right? To be able to take people through the night like Harriet Tubman. Why? For love, right? It's like, love made me do it. How people you say it's like the Twinkie defense? You say, love had me do that. Love has me in Atlanta, Georgia, when I really wanted to be in Costa Rica on my own little paradise eating papayas. I was like, no. In the heart of the revolution you go, right? It's like, why am I here? Love. I always tell this to Baba. We were laughing the other day because we have so many funny moments. Where I live is also a co-work station. I call it Spirit Underground Headquarters. So there's people, stuff happening. There's office here. There's co-work space. And so I always, out of the blue, every couple of hours, I'll just remind Baba, we work for love. We work for the Lord of love. We work, and we'll start laughing because it's like, yeah, we work for love. We do this for love, everything. And we keep remembering that. Let my steps be for love and kindness. May I be that bridge for others. We are training in the enlightened mind when we think like that, right? Everything we start dedicating. And you know what happens? That mind state starts to give you tremendous power, joy, and resiliency. No longer do we feel so shaky by all of the tsunamis of greed, hate, and delusion that are, they're about to, if we think they're amplified now, they're about to, it's almost like the stereo is going to go so loud. It's like, until it breaks apart. That's what'll happen. It's just amplifying. The insanity factor is going like this until we collectively rise up and go, that's it. That's all. We're done, right? But in the meantime, we become the practitioners. That's how we be of service right now. We're not just sitting around on our love bubble just to feel better. That's one way to live through this. But many of us, our hearts, when they're really open, they get drawn out into the world. They become drawn into service. They want to reduce suffering. Compassion is action, usually. It just starts doing itself, All of a sudden, you're out here, you're doing this, and you think, how did I get here? Love got me out here. Love has me serving. Love has me giving, right? We just start to join in with this wave. And this wave right now, it's building. Trust me, it's underground right now. It's bubbling, it's churning. There's only so much, and then humanity is going to get off their knees and go, no, love and compassion, right? I have no doubt about that. But it still has to keep getting louder and louder until that sonic, it's almost like a sound barrier. That's just like the insanity factor goes so loud. we also awaken and crack with that. We actually need that right now, right? There's something beautiful about the drama of it all that gets us awake, you know? There's those who are waking up and those who are going to sleep right now. And today is a time, this moment is a way to awaken the heart. It's our time. It's the heart's time. This is the heart's great turning. It's like, yes, away from the mind and into the body, into the true wisdom. The heart's joyful right now. It's holding a lot of suffering, but it's also, there's a homecoming. Do you feel that, community? If you're really you might feel a lot of fear at times, but there's other moments where we feel this bubbling up. So this is what we call bodhicitta. And at first, bodhicitta is the mind of enlightenment. It's when we decide that I want to be of service and I'll become a Buddha so that I can help others. And we make an aspiration. Aspirational bodhicitta is very powerful. We make that intention. At that stage, we don't have to do anything other than hold the intention, right? May this practice awaken my heart. So that I can be of service. And when we start inclining the mind, some kind of magic begins to take place. And the aspiration then turns into action, bodhicitta. Where the mind of enlightenment, actually we start to move. The compassion goes to a deeper level. This is what we want to be thinking about right now, this active practice time so that we're ready. We're ready for the great turning. And I know I talk about this, but you all, the astrology for April, it's like, I'm also a budding astrologist, so I'm constantly looking at stars and charts and transits and like, oh my gosh, this is the same. It's just pure revolution. So it is a bit like, hang on, the stars are moving in directions and we get this knowledge from the ancient ones. A lot, it's like, and even Tibetan Buddhism studies deeply astrology. Every ritual, they're like, let's look at that day again. Yes, that's a good alignment. The universe says that's a good day, So astrology is just mapping the outer world, in the inner world, we're all connected. There's nothing that's not connected here. So it's an important moment we're in, everybody. And as we think about the deepest heart medicine, which is what I'm trying to teach right now, is this mind of enlightenment. That is the most powerful refuge that brings joy to the mind, even if it's just in the aspirational phase. Yes, today I'm going to plant a seed of awakening, and then try to practice that day and dedicate that. Sit for 20 minutes, sit for 30 minutes. Everything you do, if you do a kind act, dedicate that. This is to my awakening consciousness. This is to my heart. Let it be a flow of work. May my work be of benefit to all beings. We start to say that, almost like this mantra all day. May everything that I do, I dedicate it for this awakening. And this becomes such a powerful vehicle. Right now, so many of us are going to probably be holding, a lot of despair. And in order to cope with that, we need to feel that we are meeting the moment, that we are serving humanity in some way. That helps me cope. If I can just do one thing every day and reflect on it, that brings me a lot of joy, right? It takes us out of the collapse mind state into we join our actions with the other millions of people. And this is what I also want to talk about here as a form of resiliency of the heart. It's not just your actions, you're merging your consciousness with those of the awakened ones, right? So if a Buddha came to awakened here, which I'm sure many are going to start awakening here or are in the process or have already, their only thought would be in service of others. So when we think like that, we are resonating with the heart of the awakened consciousness itself. Right? So we're merging. I always see a lot of merging. I try when I'm here meditating that we are merging with the great heart, right? We are the underground heart trying to put itself back online. I know I use that analogy, but in a hospital, when someone's flatlined, the doctors come in and they shock them with those, they try to get the heart start regulating, a fibrillator, I think it's called. I feel like what we're doing, a lot of us, is we're like that fibrillator, like we're going to shock the heart of humanity back into remembering. So it has amnesia right now, right? A kind of forgetfulness. And so it's up to us to remember first. So we make a vow to remember. So this is such a powerful mind state. I get very excited. I could talk for hours about bodhicitta and tell stories. So I won't go on too much longer with it, everybody. I'll save that for my Sunday. I have a program on Sunday. If you want to go deep dive with me on Sunday, I'm doing 3-hour metta, power metta. You go see how I really practice, and we're going to do 30-minute chunks, then sit, then talk, then another 30. And we're going to sort of amplify as I kind of open up my own portals to connecting. So if you're up for that, you can sign up for our super free your heart metta. And I like to call it free your heart because we are the heart. I keep seeing that with that fibrillator. It's like in jail, the heart chakra. And it's like, help me out. And when we start to open it, we start to access just so much energy and power, tremendous amounts of energy and power. There's a moment where we make a commitment. We dedicate ourselves to serving the heart, to serving love and compassion. And it's a moment where we get so tired of samsara. And samsara is this endless wandering. I don't know about you, but it's just so boring. Are you bored yet? It's just like every day. It's like I recently canceled Netflix. I hadn't gone on there in a long time. And it was like, are these shows still on here? Didn't I look at this in 2020? It was like, oh, like we've seen it all. We've been here before. We've done this before. And so there's this intense restlessness and the dissatisfaction of what we dedicate ourselves to normally, right? And so are you tired of that yet? And if so, that's when we start climbing on the new path. Like, I'll dedicate myself to this, right? To this aspiration of awakening, the seed of awakening. And don't ever, and Margaret Mead says, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So a lot of times, again, the doubt, we underestimate ourselves, right? We don't think we have power, but we do. And especially when we're connected to the heart.